Gender mainstreaming. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anne Nakajeri, Acting Head, Research and Grants Unit, but also from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bosco Bua, Acting Director, Director of Research and Graduate Training.
Thank you very much for the introductions. In the spirit of time management, I'll invite the Chief Internal Auditor to help us understand the risk levels and why his risk appetite and why this policy is important. Chief, you're welcome.
The Vice Chancellor, Mr. Professor Eli Katunguka, who is our chief guest, and our supervisor as internal audit, the DVC F&A, Professor Justus Kwetegeka, the University Secretary, Mr. Asa Katongole, top management colleagues who are present, deans and heads of departments present, my colleagues in internal audit, the internal audit staff present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome you all during this landmark launch of the risk management policy and guidelines at Kyambogo University. I'm going strict myself to the presentation. This presentation, I'm going to do it together with the University Secretary, who would come and make conclusion remarks. But when we are designing it, we thought it is necessary to begin with looking at what policies do the university have. And we have endeavored to outline them in the order of approval. The reason behind it is that the risk appetites or the expectation thresholds which we are supposed to comply with when we are performing risk management, they are already embedded within the policies and procedures the university has. So, the purpose of our presentation, I wanted to go on page 2. I don't know. The purpose of this presentation, therefore, is intended to help us to appreciate the policies the university has, and so that we can comply with them, and as well, we are in a position to manage our risks. So, before even we go to the policies themselves, we need to ask ourselves, why do the university have policies and procedures? The moment we have policies and procedures, it provides a clear guide on how governance within the university is supposed to be practiced. And for us, if we look at our policies, they will define the roles and responsibilities and the reporting framework. The other purpose, the policies and procedures and guidelines help the university in the sense of regulating the conduct for both staff and students. For staff, we can look at the HR policy, and for students, we have a number of policies that surround the management and regulation of behavior for students. The other thing why the university has policies is to maintain academic quality. So if you look at the policies on teaching and learning, you'll find that the main mandate or the main interest is to ensure that the university maintains high quality of education. Then the other one is to ensure accountability. I gave some bit of statistics on how the university is accounting, and you realize that internal audit has managed to verify for this financial year at least 4.8 billion. So the point I'm making is that the policies are intended to ensure that the university becomes a university which is accountable to public resources. Then lastly, it helps us in aligning the schools, faculties, and responsibilities for deans and heads of departments in schools and faculties when they are running day-to-day activities. We have the legal framework. I'm not going to read them verbatim, but the key legal framework is the Constitution of Uganda. When you read it, it tells you that every public entity should do its activities with a mind of value for money when they are offering goods and services. For our case, when we are delivering teaching and learning, we need to ensure that we realize value for money. We have the key regulation, which is the Public Finance Management Act, then the Universities and Other Tertiary Institutions Act, the Employment Act, and the PPD Act. These are acts which we deal with on day-to-day activities. And those acts embedded in them are risk appetites. They set what is expected to be done. Now, for us to manage risk appetites, as I said, risk appetites, these are risks the university is willing to take on. And the thresholds are already anchored within the policies and procedures. But sometimes there's what we call tolerance, that the university may allow some degree of variation from what is already stated within the policy. So we want to see, as a university, how can we be operating within the policies and procedures thresholds, which are risk appetites, as well as communicating to management thresholds in case you want to divert. That picture is we had gone to Sobe during the internal audit months. But the regulations, as indicated from serial 1 to serial 12, because they are 24 in number, the point I'm making, we need to get interested so that we know what is in those policies. You may find those policies, all of them do not apply to you, but the purpose of policies is that whenever you are going to carry out a university activity, you need to pick a policy and ensure that you are complying. So the policies run from 1 to 24. Just to announce them very quickly, we have the student examination regulation and award of degrees, diplomas, and certificates, which has been approved by council, and the dissemination has already been done. I saw the office of AR sending mails to every staff in the university. We have the research and graduate training guidelines, the revised policy guideline for management of examination and processing, the risk management policy which is being launched, accommodation policy and guidelines, the institutional repository policy, human resource policy, up to the student work study scheme. Now, when you look at those policies, there are some where appetites are clearly set, and there are some which need to be improved to enhance compliance. Most especially those which were developed during 2014. So the other policies, they continue up to policy 24, which is games and sports. The point we are making is that the purpose of setting risk appetites in these policies is to enable compliance so that you have a clear objective of what you are supposed to achieve. Embedding risk appetites in our workflows. Now this is now the practical case. When you read our risk policy under risk appetite statement, the first statement says that the university has zero tolerance for deliberate non-compliance with laws and regulations and internal policies. This reflects that the university's appetite to non-compliance is low, meaning that our intention should ensure that we comply with all policies and procedures in place. That's what it means. And I have highlighted the cases. For example, if we look at the internal controls surrounding finance accountability, the risk appetite the university has is very low. It expects everybody to account for public funds. If you look at research and innovation, the university risk appetite is high because innovation involves a lot of trying. You try out things, you make some mistakes. So the university allows some level of tolerance in that area. If you look at the strategic plan and our budgeted amounts, both the NTR and expenditure limits, the risk appetites are very, very low. The university would not allow for you to spend over and above the money which is budgeted. It will not allow diversion of funds. So, in practice, for us to be very efficient, we need to emphasize we comply with the risk appetites. In the policies, we picked examples of the thresholds which are put in those policies. And those thresholds are the appetites. The university knows that, for example, in the first week, a student cannot pay 100% school fees. But if it was possible, they would say in the first week, pay 100%. So they allow the risk appetite of at least the 6th week or the 8th week. But there can be tolerance, and the university, I think we have been very good at tolerating this, where students pay when they are going to sit exams. But the good news, the policy has been thoroughly implemented with the supervision of the DVCF and University Basa, and all the people are supported by the Office of US, including ICT, whereby the university has managed to hit the target. If you look at accounting for money, the threshold is 2 months, 60 days. The framers of our policies were aware that you cannot give money to someone today and you request the person to account tomorrow. So they gave a threshold of 60 days. Okay? But they can be again tolerance. In case you can't account in 60 days, the policy requires you write to accounting officer. So this is just to indicate that we have policies which we should comply with. Talk about central marking, which we picked, me and Charles Mukoza, which we picked from the recently approved policies. So what is the rationale of risk management? The rationale is that public institutions by constitution and legislative framework are intended to provide value to stakeholders for the goods and services they provide. And in our case now, the key stakeholders whom we provide goods and services are students. Again, we are aware that we are operating in an area of uncertainty, where market demands are changing. And therefore, we need to be in a position to manage the future by putting mitigation measures to make sure that the university remains efficient and effective despite the changes. Of course, there are benefits to risk management. And one of the key ones is proper allocation of resources. Where, if you have the properly profiled risks of the entity, you'll find that management will be committed to put a lot of resources in areas where risks need to be managed. Talk about improved decision making, clear accountability and ownership. So you realize at the end of that day that the event we are undertaking today is a key milestone for our university. When you read the risk management policy, which is going to be launched today, it highlights roles and responsibilities that are supposed to be executed by deans, heads of departments, administrative heads of department. But what comes out clearly is that we are supposed to identify risks from the areas where you operate. And this is going to reduce finger pointing, whereby sometimes you point risks to management which are supposed to be managed by yourself. As we shall proceed, you will see that as all of us as we are here, we are all risk managers. Okay? So we must develop the model which is going to be called the risk register of identifying our risks and managing them. Okay? So if you look at the roles, I don't want to read them verbatim, they are in the policy, but the point I'm making is that in that policy, they are transferring the mandates to you to make sure that you do some risk management. In terms of summary, the policy envisaged that at head of department at the school level, on a quarterly basis, you are supposed to share a risk register to the principal risk officer, who is not yet recruited. But that mandate is now being managed under audit because the principal risk officer reports to the vice chancellor. Then, if there are significant risks, they will be escalated to top management, audit committee, and council. And we are going to have thresholds on what risk goes to management and what risk goes to council. So, the risk policy points out what qualifies to go to council as a risk and what stops at management. We have said that one of the key models or reporting tool that is going to be used is what we call a risk register. And the risk register is basically a document that identifies all the risks that you are facing as a department, as a unit, as a person, which proposes the mitigation measures. How do you plan to mitigate those risks or control those risks? And how those risks are rated, whether they are high or low. In our case, the responsibility of risk management is vested within the University Council. Of course, it does that mandate through committees of council. But the responsibility is delegated through the audit committee and risk owners. And me and you, we are risk owners from our areas where we operate. So management is saying that let us try to also to identify the risks we are facing and plan how to mitigate them. So, what will be the steps? The good news is that there is a presentation which is going to give an interactive approach on how to develop a risk register. But the tested modules has been one for identifying risks. You can conduct interviews or you can conduct workshops like the one we are having. Then after that, you can do a bit of risk assessment. You assess how the possibility of the risk occurring or not occurring. Then you go into the conversation on how can it be controlled. Can we use internal control measures to control the risk? Can we ensure, does it need risk transfer, or we can avoid? Avoiding may not be very common because you'll end up doing nothing. Then the other thing is aligning risks. Aligning the organization performance with the risk appetites. We shall look at how do we align the risk appetite. For example, we are supposed to submit accountabilities within 60 days. So in your faculty, you will put that as a control measure. Then you align it to performance. So if you find that majority of accountabilities are submitted after 60 days, it means you are operating outside the appetite. It means you are not complying. So the risk appetite thresholds means they need to be complied with. Then you will be doing monitoring. The monitoring depends on the type of risk you are controlling. There are some risks which can be controlled or monitored on a daily basis. There are some which can be monitored on a semester basis. The components of risk, we are going to have a detailed presentation on that. But those are the key components. We shall share the slide. I just want to focus on that. Now, when you read the risk policy, we have the risk heat map and the risk scoring level. The scoring level in our risk policy is from 1 to 5, both on probability of occurrence and likelihood and impact. Now, you look at the shading, the colors, we have the ones which are in red, then we should be having the others. If you look in the policy, we have the ones which are shaded amber and the ones shaded heads of academic and administrative departments, my colleagues, the staff, teaching and non-teaching, and the media if they are here, good morning. We had agreed with my colleague that we make a presentation. He reaches somewhere, he stops, then I come in. I said, why? Just to do it at once. So I only come to emphasize a few issues. First and foremost, the BC will have the opportunity to welcome you. But I want to go straight to the point based on the presentation we have just made. Actually, almost 80% of all of you have actually come to my office. If you survive going to the VC, you come to my office. And some of you have been summoned by the Chief Internal Auditor, and others also summoned by the external auditors, and some of you have either gone to our legal chambers led by the principal legal, or even going to court. The moment you realize that you are moving to those offices, then you know there is a problem. And in most cases, when you come to me, for those of you I have interacted with, I always make a reference to the policy. And my question is always a simple one. Did this person take time to look for the policy or even read it? To the extent even some of you come, when even the policy I'm talking about, it is you who actually generated it up to the level of council. So since we are here to discuss the risk, let me tell you the first risk I always see. We have a lot of appetite to always ask a question when something is to be done or has not been done. The question is, what is the policy? Others even say there is no policy. Then we embark on the process, we come up with a policy, council approves it. Unfortunately, our daily operations are not reflective of the policy. We continue doing our work as it was. You've seen the list of the policies we have. We only picked out only those 24. Only. But I want you, when you get this particular presentation, do the analysis and look at each of them and reflect in your daily operations and see whether whatever you do, you make a reference to that policy. I know some people would say the policy is approved by council, we don't get information. I'm aware. But if a policy was made to ease your work, that means you cannot move. The question is, how do you move the entire academic year and you are comfortable? Okay? And that's something which you must actually be very, 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 very concerned. Policy. Let me just give you one example. Look at the examination, student examination. And it's good that at least now legal chambers guided us, because we are having documents now which are distinct. When you talk about examinations to do with the students, the malpractice, it is a standalone document. When you talk about staff, how they manage exams, it's also standalone. So implementation becomes easy. But let me just give an example. Under student, or the way we manage examinations anyway in general, there are timelines. And I've been raising this to the deans. That policy or those regulations are intended to manage a risk. So the moment you continue doing your work without due regard to what the regulations say, that means you have not helped us to manage that risk. Now, this policy comes at the right time, and our chief executive of the BC, I think what we are going to do now, all the policies we are having after launching this risk management policy, all the policies will now be subjected to audit using this one and see whether they comply. If they don't, then that will be the reason for actually trying to propose for the having a review. Otherwise, I would say that whatever you come to me, you got the VC, wherever you go, the solutions are already actually
catered for in the policies you have. So my request is simple. As deans, as colleagues, can we focus on what the policies are, and then we implement them to the dot. And as I conclude, colleagues, I know some of you come to me and say, this is what I think. Leave alone what you think. This is a public institution. I always tell people, I will procure the vehicle of the Vice Chancellor at a cost, going through the process, or the one of the US, going through the process, but I will not short-circuit the process for me to get cheap things, because the policy or the procedures are there to manage a risk. And the assumption is that whatever we do, there are risks. Okay? So for you do your part, the rest, if the issue is the policy, it is inadequate, that is not an issue. For you, as long as you will be able to account for whatever you have done. And Prof, as I conclude, I think Chief Internal Auditor, there is a very serious problem. You have seen that the policy is intending to ensure that we have accountability. When we talk of accountability, it's not an issue of submitting papers, the vouchers to the accounting officer. Then you take them to the Chief Internal Auditor, they say verified. It goes beyond that. That's why now we are talking about the planning and others, quality assurance. So the issue is, if you tell me that you have procured educational materials for teaching, I always tell people, some of the educational materials, some of the travel abroad, travel inland, especially ITCSP, talk of per diems to Soroti Learning Center, to Bushenyi. Actually, those activities are not done. They end in people's pockets, but remember that is also an issue. So when we talk of accountability, in addition to the receipts, to what? Please ensure the reports are there to justify that actually you went there, and there is a reason why you went to address a problem, and come and tell us the problem has been solved. And that's why I will think audit will be convinced, and they will be able to actually clear you. Prof, I would tell you that we've come from very far, and I think we need again to maintain that pace. I know it is going to be a very hard one. I remember at one time when we were organizing I remember when you sanctioned the end of year staff parties. I came to you, I said, how can I maintain the pace and the level? And you told me it is you who set it, you manage it. Now the challenge I'm seeing, especially this year, I'm seeing that we have scored almost in all the parameters. Because, and thanks to the DVC F and A. And this is a question, I don't know if Director Chief Digits is here. The BASA is represented. There is a deputy in charge revenue. The BASA is there. Even I can see Ada. There is a question I'm asking which must be interrogated. All along, our NTR was ranging between 64 billion to 65. As I speak now, the NTR has gone above 80 billion. So, as you clap, the question is, where has been that money? That's a big question where I sit, I have to ask. So we shall need the answers, but I would like to congratulate you. Yes, I would like to congratulate you, especially Ada and the entire team and the colleagues. That's why I used to tell you that Kyambogo has money. That one I can tell you. I still emphasize we have enough money to manage this university, as long as we become frugal at all levels. And Prof, this coming financial year, I think our NTR was enhanced to close to 81 billion BASA. Is it 81? 80? 81. So if under the enhancement, it was based on our commitment that we'll be able to speak now. If we have been able to hit 81, that is enough to convince, but we need to see how best we can enhance it further. So we have managed that risk now. That was an audit query which we are now answering. The other audit query was to do with the domestic areas which we are trying to manage across, and I can confirm we have paid the top up the 12 months, and we are going to pay the salary the 12 months. We have paid all the part-time teaching, all the invigilation, examinations, etc. So there is no excuse now. My only question is to the, and by the way, there is another round of upload that can go to the legal chambers. We allocated money which we call court awards, and we put there that money based on our performance, the litigation we've been having. I can tell you we are, I think Treasury is going to take back close to 200 million. That's a good performance, because if you plan to spend 500 and you plan and you have deficit, then that means you are not doing well, you have too much of litigation. But where you are having a reserve going back to the Treasury, then it means that you managed your cases and the internal processes very well, which I think it is a plus. So the question we are having, and that's why it is good that we are launching this risk management policy now, where we have reached in terms of performance across in most of the parameters, how do we maintain it? So the onus is with me and you, so that we don't go back to the level of having unpaid claims to staff. And as I conclude, Prof, very soon, especially in July, we are going to present, we shall have to call a meeting of deans and the top management, so now we are able to present figures that will guide our future planning. We can now tell how much money we need for wage for every faculty, how much money we need for part-time teaching claims for every faculty, how much money they need for examination and invigilation, and how much they need for ITCSP, which was not the case. And that would be now the guidance whenever we are allocating funds to this particular faculties, because as we end, there are faculties that were financially constrained and we had to get rescue from other faculties. But I think planning with your guidance, we shall have to realign so that we don't have that stage of begging, help me here, so that everybody gets the funds which are adequate. I think I can stop there, but I would say, me as the accounting officer, I'm so happy that this policy is going to help and offload some of the issues that have been presenting to me. As long as each of you, because I've seen it, there's something he has not mentioned. When you look at the policy when it is ranking high, very high, which is top level, medium, which is also high, and then the low, you realize that each of them is monitored differently. The one which is on top, the high, is monitored monthly because of the impact it has. The medium is quarterly, and the low is actually annually. And even the levels of responsibilities vary. So we'll be able to take you through that, so that we are able to ensure that we embed it throughout all our processes. I don't know, I'm seeing you. Yes, as far as I know, my role was to conclude our presentation and allow me to stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, the Chief Internal Auditor, for the overview of the risk policy, and the Accounting Officer for what I can call the State of the University address. At least we know that we are doing well. It is heartwarming to know that there is good progress, and our prayer and aspiration is that we continue and improve even better. So we are now coming to the opening remarks from the Vice Chancellor and later the official launch. In the spirit of keeping time, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite the Vice Chancellor to give us the opening remarks. Professor, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, moderator. The DVC, F&A, the US, other members of top management who are present, the deans, the chiefs and heads of departments and units, the staff from the internal audit, distinguished staff, teaching and non-teaching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad to be here to this occasion for the launch of the risk management policy and guidelines. And I want to thank the internal audit team for the work they have done to organize this. Because I believe that what we are going to discuss today would strengthen governance, accountability, and resilience of the university. I want to thank the US for his remarks and for his reassurance that things are getting better. So thank you very much, Mr. US. There's been a growing interest in recent years to develop an enterprise risk management system, as expressed by both the University Council and the university management. The risk management effort at the university has been informal, unstructured, silo type, without common risk language, risk reporting, policy, and guidelines. As a way of formalizing the process, the university developed the risk management policy and guidelines, which were approved by the University Council on the 2nd of October 2024. The policy and guidelines will provide a framework for conducting risk management in a systematic and structured manner while ensuring transparency and accountability. So today we officially launch the Kyambogo University Risk Management Policy and Guidelines, and this will steer us in the new direction. This event is held under the theme, Navigating Uncertainty and Strengthening the University's Future through a Risk Awareness Culture. In higher education, we often view ourselves primarily through the lens of academic excellence, research, innovation, and community impact. However, the global landscape for universities has grown immensely complex. We are operating in an environment of shifting financial dynamics, rapid technological transformations, complex legal landscapes, and unexpected global disruption. Risk is not something to be feared or avoided. It is a reality to be managed. So I was reading around, I wanted to inform myself, these people are so technical, their language is technical, risk appetite, risk what? So I wanted to understand, what is risk? I discovered that risk is the possibility that an action or event will lead to an undesirable outcome or loss. A possibility that an action or event will lead to an undesirable outcome or loss. And it combines the likelihood of a negative event happening with the magnitude of the consequences if it does. If you look at the work we do in the university, every one of us, whatever action you do or lack of it has a consequence. And there is a risk associated with that. When I was reminded of, I was in charge of research funds in Makerere for about 10 years. And I disbursed some money to researchers who did not account for the money. When we appeared in Parliament, the park committee chairperson said, the moment you disburse money, you are responsible for that money. So they said, Katunka, come here and take the oath I said, take the oath of what? Because you are being taken by CID to answer for the money that these researchers did not bring back. I thought it was a simple matter. The CID came, but fortunately I never swore. So he took me aside and we planned how to manage the risk. I had to explain from researchers that some of the money they had taken, some of them were in agriculture and the weather was so bad, they could not do the research. But we managed to manage the risk. And when I was seated there, I was talking to my colleague, the DVSF, and remember I introduced the research, the competitive research policy, competitive research scheme. And I was looking at the returns. There are members of staff who took money in 2019. And up to now, they have never counted. They have never given a report. And I wrote to the bursar to recover this money. I'm yet to find out whether the money is being recovered. So whatever action you do, or the lack of it, has a risk associated with it. So we must be very careful because of all things we do in the university. There are risks associated with it. I was looking at the examinations, the results. Senate was approving the results of students for the exams that were done in December 2025. And we are now looking at the results. And I'm told there are some departments which have not submitted the results to the faculty. And we wonder whether we are really serious. So these are some of the risks, lack of action. The things we are supposed to do, when we don't do them, we create risks. And when students riot, we should not blame them because they have expectations from us. So our failure to deliver on the expectations will create bigger risks. So the risk management policy is a statement of the overall intentions and direction of Kyambogo University regarding risk management. You are going through all the presentations about risks, risk appetite, and risk management. The general objective of the risk management policy is to establish a robust risk management framework that supports Kyambogo University in achieving the strategic objectives while minimizing threats and maximizing opportunities. I want to emphasize a crucial point here that risk management is not the sole job of the audit committee of the University Council, quality assurance team, or management. This issue of risk management belongs to all of us, the employees of the university. We must understand the risks associated with the work we do in our particular units, develop those risk registers, and be able to monitor these risks. To ensure this policy translates seamlessly from paper to practice, our implementation strategy will roll out across 3 critical phases. The first one is capacity building and training, and this is immediate. Internal audit will lead training and capacity building across schools, faculties, and directorates and departments to familiarize everyone with risk registers and assessment tools. The second will be development of the risk register. You'll work with the audit team to develop these registers in each department and each faculty. The third phase will be continuous monitoring and reporting. And this will continue through the year, maybe once or twice, depending on the degree of the risk. I want to keep my remarks brief because there are so many activities happening, because from here I will be required to go to another activity. But I want to commend the dedicated teams led by the Chief Internal Auditor, the Auditor and Risk Committee, management, and all the stakeholders who work tirelessly to develop this policy and guidelines. Their commitment reflects our shared vision of building a culture of responsibility and foresight. I want to say that the university has come a long way. We have really come a long way. And there are very few issues you hear about accountability. And we used to have a culture of anonymous letters. Anonymous letters. You come to the office, you find 3 in the morning. They are talking about the US, some are talking about the VC, others are talking about the BASA. People complaining about things that they don't really understand. And the other day I was out of the country to attend to some family issues. I got a call from a guy I didn't know. He introduced himself and he said, the university owes me money. I said, the university owes you money? I asked him how much. He said the court awarded me 600 million. I said, which money? He said, I'm the one who raised alarm about the previous vice chancellor when he was mishandling the finances of the university. I said, yes. He said, then we went to court, and the court awarded me damages, but the university has not given me the money. I said, how did the court matter end? He said, I appealed. I said, has the appeal been handled? He said, no. I said, why don't you wait for the appeal? He said, I've been waiting for many years. I now want to come and see you. I said, no. Don't waste my time. So whatever you do, there is a risk associated with it. And there are people watching. There are people watching. Some good people, some bad people. So whatever you do, make sure that you minimize those risks. With this launch, we affirm our pledge to protect the integrity of our operations, the welfare of our staff and students, and the sustainability of our future. When you walk in town, people will tell you, Kyambogo University has now changed. We don't hear a lot of noise. There are no strikes from staff, from students. This has not happened by accident. It is a deliberate effort that management took to address the concerns of the staff and of the students. There are some issues which are happening around, like allowances, which we pay out. There's no any other university that is paying out these allowances. Like top-up, there's no any other university that pays top-up to anybody. Because once the salaries were harmonized, those were the salaries paid across board. At Kyambogo University, we said, let us wait until somebody says don't, we'll continue doing it. That has caused a lot of peace. The recent promotions, we got money from government, and we're able to promote people to different levels. Some people got promoted to associate professors, others full professors, others to senior lecturers, and that is very motivating. So that creates an environment of stability, which we think we have a duty to maintain. By taking charge of our risks today, we are effectively securing the value of Kyambogo University tomorrow, ensuring that our research remains uninterrupted, our staff remains secure, and our students continue to thrive in a safe world-class learning ecosystem. I therefore now want to take my singular honor and privilege to declare the Kyambogo University Risk Management Policy and Guidelines officially launched. Thank you all, and may we continue to take bold, calculated, and protected steps toward our shared future. Knowledge and skills for service for God and my country. And may God bless you. May God bless each one of you as you serve Kyambogo University. May you commit yourselves to make it much better for yourselves as long as you are here and for those who will come after you. May God bless you.
So, VC will request that you sign, and then after you have signed, we shall request members of top management and deans to also come and sign. Yeah. in the provided space. The VC is signing the yeah, and then okay, we've been guided that once the VC signs, he has launched. For us, we don't have it signed anywhere, and that's okay. So we'll keep seated. Thank you very much. And now, thank you very much, Professor, for opening this event and also officially launching the risk management policy. And that brings us to a health break. We've been sitting for quite some time, so we are going to do two things. One, we shall go the other side and take a photo. We now have our studio out there. That's where we always go as long as we are on CTF. So we're going to go out there, take a photo, then we shall return. Tea has been here since early morning. Then we come, take it as a way of exercising and also refreshing, and then we shall come for the second and final part of this event. So we are going out for a photo moment, then we will return and have our tea and proceed. Thank you very much. And we are all invited for the photo. So if you are not photophobic, take a photo. These are the pictures we use in our publications.
You're not there. Faded letters on the old barn door. Footsteps echo, but not yours. Silence sings the songs we knew. Now the night just feels so blue. Every mile, every sign brings me back to what was mine. Love still lingers in the air, but I turn, you're not there. Maybe time will heal the stain, and I won't chase what's lost in spring. But tonight, beneath the midnight sky, I still whisper your goodbye. Soft rain falls on the front porch swing. Midnight breeze makes the pine trees sing. Memories dance in the fire's light, like echoes lost in the quiet night. Winds may change, rivers may run, but I still wait for what's undone. Every sunset, every spark still keeps your name inside my heart. Blue hearts once strong now turn to rust. You took the road, left me behind. Now I chase ghosts in the Georgia pines. Winds may change, rivers may run, but I still wait for what's undone. Every sunset, every spark still keeps your name inside my heart. Maybe time will dim the flame, but I'll still smile when I hear your name. Till then I'll sit where we once stayed, watching fire turn to gray. Winds may change, rivers may run, but I still wait for what's undone. Every sunset, every spark still keeps your name inside my heart. Maybe time will dim the flame, but I'll still smile when I hear your name. Till then I'll sit where we once stayed, watching fire turn to gray with occasionally of waves. Cigarette smoke in the neon light, faded songs on a Friday night, whiskey glass, a lonesome tune, wishing I'd forget you soon. Barstool blues and heartache high still can't drown that last goodbye. Every sip, every song feels like you ain't been gone too long. Laughter echoes down the hall, your perfume lingers, that's all. Every face, every name still reminds me just the same. Barstool blues and heartache high still can't drown that last goodbye. Every sip, every song feels like you ain't been gone too long. Barstool blues and heartache high still can't drown that last goodbye. Every face, every name still reminds me just the same. Maybe someday I'll move on, find a road where love ain't gone. But tonight in this old dive, I still hear your voice alive.
Morning light through a worn out shade. Coffee's cold, but the past won't fade. Your old flannel's still on the chair, like you might just reappear. Shadows fall where love once asking why you said goodbye. But on record, still spin slow, same sad tune from long ago. Dust collects where we would dance, like a love that never had a chance. Shadows fall where love once stayed, memories won't wash away. Every moment, every sigh, still asking why you said goodbye. Take its toll, turn this hurt to solid gold. But for now, I'll sit and wait, staring at your empty place. Shadows fall where love once stayed, memories won't wash away. Why you said goodbye. Oh, still asking why you said goodbye. Goodbye. Soft southern rain, faded echoes call your name. Lightning strikes, sky burns red, but you're just thunder in my head. Storms may pass, love still stays, even when you walk away. Every heartbeat, every cry, still won't let you say goodbye. Rusty swing, a quiet breeze, ghosts of us in autumn leaves. Time moves on, but not for me. Still stuck where we used to be. Storms may pass, love still stays, even when you walk away. Every heartbeat, every cry, still won't let you say goodbye. Maybe one day skies turn blue, and I won't stand here missing you. Till then, I'll watch the clouds roll by, waiting on the reasons why. Storms may pass, love still stays, even when you walk away. Every heartbeat, every cry, still won't let you say goodbye. Maybe one day skies turn blue, and I won't stand here missing you. Till then I'll watch the clouds roll by, waiting on the reasons why. Soft wind hums through the old pine trees, Golden fields dance in the summer breeze. Footsteps fade where love once grew, but every road still leads to you. Every sunset, every sign still feels like you were mine. No matter the time, no matter the tide, I still hear you on the other side. Letters left on the windowsill, faded words, but I love you still. Seasons change, but hearts don't lie. Still chasing stars in the midnight sky. Every sunset, every sign still feels like you were mine. No matter the time, no matter the tide, I still hear you on the other side. Maybe someday I'll walk on through, find myself standing next to you. Till then I'll wait, till then I'll sigh, where the whispering pines meet the sky. Every sunset, every sign still feels like you were mine. No matter the time, no matter the tide, I still hear you on the other side. I still hear you on the other side. Old back road and a midnight ride, moonlit river running high. Wheels keep turning, hearts stand still, chasing love that time won't kill. Faded maps and broken lines, every road leads back in time. Through the echoes, through the rain, still calling out your name. Empty seat where you once sat, radio hums, but I just laugh. Memories dance in the rear view light, but I can't change the past tonight. Faded maps and broken lines, every road leads back in time. Through the echoes, through the rain, still calling out your name. Maybe one day I'll let go, find a road I used to know. Till then I drive, till then I roam, trying to find my way back home. Faded maps and broken lines, every road leads back in time. Through the echoes, through the rain, still calling out your name. Oh,
dry. Till then I roam, trying to find my way back home. Smoke still lingers on your old porch swing. Soft guitar and a melody sings. Summer air, a whisper tune, but you left way too soon. Love don't fade, love don't die, even when the tears run dry and dry. Every star, every mile, still dreaming of your smile. Barefoot steps on gravel stone, dancing where we once called home. Now it's just the breeze and me, singing songs you used to sing. Love don't fade, love don't die, even when the tears run dry and dry. Every star, every mile, still dreaming of your smile. Maybe time will mend my soul, but your love still makes me whole. Till then I sit, till then I wait, watching the sun slip through the gate. Midnight rain on the old tin roof. Every drop sings the pain of truth. Your goodbye still lingers strong, but this house don't feel like home. Storms may fade, love still stays, even when you walk away. Every moment, every cry still won't let you say goodbye. Rusty latch, that creaky floor, every room still holds before I close my eyes, but you're still here, like a song I can't unhear. Storms may fade, love still stays, even when you walk away. Every moment, every cry still won't let you say goodbye. Maybe one day skies turn blue, and I won't stand here missing you. Till then I'll watch the clouds roll by, reasons why. Golden fields under painted skies, soft wind whispers your lullabies. Love once bloomed where we used to lay. Now the seasons call your name. Through the hills, past the pines, I still search for love that's mine. Every sunset, every sign, still praying for another time. Letters faded, left unread, softest words you never said. Now they drift where memories flow, like rivers lost in undertow. Through the hills, past the pines, I still search for love that's mine. Every sunset, every sign, still praying for another time. Maybe someday fate will bring a love that lasts, a song to sing. Till then I walk, till then I roam through the hills trying to get home. Faint perfume in the midnight air, soft wind moves like you're still there. Shadows dance where we once stood, but time don't heal the way it should. Every road, every sign still leads me back to what was mine. Through the echoes, through the rain, still calling out your name. Moonlight shines on the old front porch. Footsteps fade, but I want more. Memories drift like falling leaves, but your love still stays with me. Every road, every sign still leads me back to what was mine. Through the echoes, through the rain, still calling out your name.
that shines on the old front porch. Footsteps fade, but I want more. Memories drift like falling leaves, but your love still stays with me. Every road, every sign still leads me back to what was mine. Through the echoes, through the rain, still calling out your name. Maybe time will set me free, or love will find its way to me. Till then I wait, till then I roam, trying to find my way back home. Soft guitar hums a lonesome tune. Firelight flickers beneath the moon. Your old jacket still hanging there, like a ghost of love left in the air. Stars still shine, rivers still run, but love like ours don't come undone. Every song, every mile, still dreaming of your smile. Footsteps echo on a dusty floor, but your voice don't call no more. Memories dance in candlelight, but I reach out and you're out of sight. Stars still shine, rivers still run, but love like ours don't come undone. Every song, every mile, still dreaming of your smile. Maybe one day I'll move on, find a place where you ain't gone. Till then I sit, till then I wait, watching time slip through the gate. Faint headlights on a lonesome street. Soft wind hums a worn out beat. Moonlight paints the field so wide, but you're not walking by my side. Every mile, every sign brings me back to what was mine. Love still lingers in the air, but I turn and you're not there. Faded letters on the old barn door. Footsteps echo, but not yours. Silence sings the songs we knew. Now the night just feels so blue. maybe time will heal the sting, and I won't chase what's lost in spring. But tonight, beneath the midnight sky, I still whisper your goodbye. Soft rain falls on the front porch swing. Midnight breeze makes the pine trees sing. Memories dancing, the fires alight, like echoes lost in the quiet night. The winds may change, the rivers may run, but I still wait for what's undone. Every sunset, every spark still keeps your name inside my heart. Boot prints faded in the red clay dust. Two hearts once strong now turn to rust. You took the road, left me behind. Now I chase ghosts in the Georgia pines. Winds may change, rivers may run, but I still wait for what's undone. Every sunset, every spark still keeps your name inside my heart. Maybe time will dim the flame, but I'll still smile when I hear your name. Till then I'll sit where we once stayed, watching fire turn to gray. Yeah, winds may change, rivers may run, but I still wait for what's undone. And every sunset, every spark still keeps your name inside my heart. Name inside my cigarette smoke in the neon light, faded songs on a Friday night, whiskey glass, a lonesome tune, wishing I'd forget you soon. Barstool blues and heartache high, still can't drown that last goodbye. Every sip, every song feels like you ain't been gone too long. Laughter echoes down the hall, your perfume lingers, that's all. Every face, every name still reminds me just the same. Barstool blues
trip. Every song feels like you ain't been.
Okay, I hope you have enjoyed the break, and we can now resume. I request that we draw a bit closer and compose ourselves, then we proceed. And in that spirit, I would like to invite Associate Professor Mukokoma, the Chief Quality Assurance, to come and give her presentation. Professor, you are very welcome to give your presentation.
Thank you very much, MC. Our chief guest, the Vice Chancellor, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Finance and Administration, University Secretary, members of top management, directors present and chiefs, deans, heads of departments, the audit team that has spearheaded organizing this event. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm so humbled and at the same time delighted to present an extensive understanding and illustration of the risk register on the launch of the risk management policy and guidelines. I thank the Chief Internal Audit for working closely with the quality assurance. We don't take that for granted. I invite all of us to open the policy. I believe all of us have copies. Where there are roles and responsibilities. Who is responsible for what? That is part 4, starting from page 29 to 23. Sorry. From page 20 to 23, we have the responsibilities. And I would like to draw your attention to section 4.6. Directorate of Quality Assurance, Risk Integration. I'm waiting for you to be there. Page 22, section 4.6. The copy I have is section 4.6, page 22. The Risk Management Policy and Guidelines. Thank you. Page 22, section 4.6. Yes. Permit me to read verbatim. Are we there? We are not on the same page. Okay, let's go by sections. Section 9.6. Are we there? Good. I'm going to read verbatim. The Directorate of Quality Assurance shall ensure that risk management principles are integrated into quality assurance processes. The Directorate shall, A, coordinate with deans who are present here, I'm so glad, directors and heads of departments to monitor risk exposure in teaching, learning, research, and innovation. And I'm so glad that the research and innovation and project unit is well represented as well. Number B, work with the risk management committee to ensure that risk assessment is part of quality assurance reviews. C, submit quarterly quality assurance reports to the RMC. And D, support the risk management committee in embedding risk management principles into quality improvement initiatives. That section shows the collaboration between internal audit and quality assurance. Then section 9.9 clearly illustrates the relevance of all of us here. Section 9.9, all university staff, all university employees have a responsibility for risk management. A, new staff shall receive risk management orientation within their first month of employment. 2, staff shall identify, report, and mitigate risk within their respective roles. Deputy Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, you are not here by mistake. It is your policy mandate to be a champion of risk. I'm going to focus on the register, which is a tool that is going to guide us in implementing our role as risk managers. But permit me to say, ladies and gentlemen, risk is managed best when it is made visible, when it is owned, when it is assessed and reviewed. At the end of our discussion, which is going to have two parts in a way. The first part is for us to understand the risk register. And the last part will help us to make a commitment to adopt and consistently use the risk register as an institutional accountability and decision-making tool. Colleagues, the risk register matters because it converts uncertainty into a structured management conversation. DVC were not utilizing this tool. Therefore, before the register, risks were discussed informally in Kyambogo University. You know, your results are not submitted in time. We discuss risks informally, and at times we are really cautious and pertinent when things have run out of control. But with the register, risks will have a name, will have an identity. Risks will be scored. Risks will be owned. Risks will be treated and tracked. And surely they will be reviewed frequently, where we assess ourselves whether the strategy is working or not. We all need this tool at a personal level, at a departmental level, at a school level, at the overall university level, as indicated in the policy. Permit me to share with you the columns, because I'm going to demonstrate what has been recorded in the register itself so far. But I want us to appreciate what we are talking about. The risk register at a glance. We start with identifying the risk. What risk exists in Kyambogo University or in your department? How do we categorize it? How do we describe it? 2, diagnose the risk, become the risk doctor. Why is it happening? What is the root cause? And who owns that risk? 3, assess it. Is it serious? By looking at, as the chief indicated, impact and likelihood. Then make a decision. What response is needed? And the decision will be influenced by the cause and the appetite, your risk appetite. And finally, treat the risk and monitor what action will be required to reduce the risk, to mitigate the risk, and you need to have clear dates. A useful register is specific. 2 is evidence-based. You don't work on rumors. Therefore, we need data, true data, not assumed data. A useful register should be owned, it should be positioned, and should be somebody in charge of that data. It should be reviewed. It should not contain vague statements that are difficult to act on. Now I'm going to use an example before we move into the real register. We are starting with the risk category. We group risks by nature or source. For instance, in our register, we've grouped them based on whether they are operational risks, whether they are strategic risks, whether they are compliance risks, whether they are financial risks, whether they are reputational risks, whether they are academic quality risks, but you find that a number of operational risks, they follow into academic quality and finance. Then you describe the risk. You provide a concrete narrative of the condition, of the event, or weaknesses that may affect objectives. It should include context and consequences. Then you identify the risk. You make a precise risk statement, and it should be clear enough for management to recognize that the issue needs action. A good risk statement should indicate the condition, the event, and the possible effect on objectives. Example: delays in program accreditation. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to acknowledge the work that was done by the master students who are doing accounting and information system, and one of the students is represented in this discussion. As somebody who prefers competency-based, we came up with a project which they championed to identify the risks in Kyambogo University. And I want to recognize Rosette. She was one of the team leaders when we came up with the risks in Kyambogo University. And this is one of the risks. So I'm riding on the feedback that we collected, and the responses were extensive, over 200 responses that they collected. You know, at times when you don't have resources, like quality assurance, we didn't have resources. I looked at what is available, and I had the resource of the students. So they helped to identify the risks. I thank you, and I acknowledge your contribution. Delays in program accreditation may lead to non-compliance, reputational exposure, and interruption in academic delivery. We are describing the risk in simple, clear terms. Then you ask, what is the root cause? And we are going to brainstorm together. What is causing the delays? You look for the underlying reason the risk exists, not a symptom, but the underlying reason. And ask yourself, is it a process issue? Is it a resource issue? Is it a system issue? Is it a policy issue? A behavioral issue, or an external factor like National Council for Higher Education delaying it to approve, or the Ministry of Finance? What is driving the risk? Then you position it. Who is the risk owner? The person or the office with the responsibility to coordinate action, report progress, and escalate unresolved issues. Ownership, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important, must match the mandate and authority. If you position the risk where that office is not mandated to take action, then you will not have positive progress. I'm going to illustrate a weak cause, for instance. If you say the cause for the delayed approval of programs is just delays and you leave it there, it's not clear, it's vague. But a better cause would be late submission of committee reports. And here we are looking at the departmental committee, the faculty committee, the Senate committee, the council committee. And then you collect data on where is the delay. Is it from the department to the faculty, from faculty to Senate, from Senate to council, or from council to National Council for Higher Education? Where is that delay? Very specific. Then you ask yourself, who is the owner? Remember, we talked about ownership and mandate. Is it the academic registrar? I told Dr. Annie, don't go out because I'm positioning you to own some of the risks. Is it the deans? Is it heads of departments? Is it Senate? Who owns that risk? One risk may need contributors, but still it should have a lead owner. So for delayed program approval, we should agree as a university on who owns it, and others can just support the owner. Thank you. I'm soon moving to the register. But I love this in the policy. It is called the heat matrix, where it is very hot, 25, very hot. And the chief said that for where the heat is extreme, then council should be informed. Even where the heat is very high, council should be informed. But whether it is high, medium, or low, the risk would be positioned somewhere. I've used, as per the policy, they have even defined the scale, the anchor scales. For instance, the likelihood, because you're going to have an assignment in a few minutes. What is the likelihood, for instance, of the programs delaying submission? And when we talk about delay, we should have a standard in terms of time, according to the university. What is our commitment in terms of time from when the initiation of the program review is done up to approval? Do we have a standard? And that's why the National Development Authority challenged all public universities to come up with these standards, because standards and policies, as the US mentioned, they'll help us to identify and evaluate the severity of the risk. So we have rare, unlikely, possible, likely, uncertain. Then we have the impact. If it is negligible, minor, moderate, major, critical. But look at the extreme. Almost certain, and it is critical. The heat is very high. I don't know the temperature. Somebody can inform us. Then in the register, you're going to see you have to make a decision, a risk cause decision. And there are 4 T's. I pray that all of us, get familiar with these T's. Treat, tolerate, transfer, terminate. You have to decide before you take an action. For instance, if you say treat, reduce the risk through controls and corrective action. If you say tolerate, is accept the risk where exposure is low, or it is within what we can accept appetite. Transfer, it means shift part of the risk through insurance, through contract terms and partnerships. Terminate, stop the activity or process causing the unacceptable risk. We have proposed mitigation strategies. Without action for improvement, you are wasting your time. You collect all the data on the risk register, but without mitigative strategies, it will be a wastage of resources. A strong mitigation action is specific, it is assignable, it is realistic, and time-bound. For instance, a weak mitigation would be improve follow-up. But a better mitigation would be establish monthly tracking schedule for pending program accreditation files and report the status to the DVCAA. Very specific mitigation. And then we'll check whether you've done it or not. So mitigation should state the corrective or preventive action, the responsible office or the lead person, expected output or control, and the time frame. Again, in the register, you indicate the risk appetite. And there are 3 levels, as already explained, whether it's within the appetite, near the appetite, or outside the appetite. Outside the appetite, I'm even using red because you're saying you cannot tolerate this. It's out of our policy, it's out of what is acceptable, the standards that we have. The quality assurance implication is that risks affecting compliance, as the US said, risks affecting program accreditation, examination integrity, student progression, and institution reputation, usually Kyambogo will have an appetite which is outside, not tolerable at all. Then when you take action, a mitigation, you ask yourself, will it work? Will the impact be reduced? Is the likelihood going to be reduced? What is the next course of action? Permit me to summarize. These are the categories, the rows and the columns where information is captured in the register. Shall have a category, shall have a description, identification, cause, owner, the multiplication of impact and likelihood, decision, mitigation, and review. On that note, therefore, as we end, I want to say that a risk register is a living management tool which helps us to clarify risks, to be accountable based on our mandate, and to prioritize things that will change the operations of the entity. Now, I want us to move to the register itself. I'm going to demonstrate the data that has been captured with internal audit and quality assurance in the register. And then afterwards, I'll request that we handle only one risk together throughout the table. Kindly project the risk register. I have it here as presented there. I hope ICT is listening. For me, I'm seeing it here on this laptop. As he's projecting, the first column is a reference number or an ID. And in this register, it is QA, quality assurance, RSK, risk 01. Sorry, the words. Can we increase the font? Thank you. You categorize the risk. This first risk is an operational risk. And we are describing it in simple, very clear terms. Delays in the program accreditation process. As per the program status report, March 2026, out of the 210 programs, 99 had taken more than 4 years from the departmental initiation to final approval by National Council, exposing the university to non-compliance, reputational damage, and disruption in academic delivery. The description of the risk may not be 100% okay, but I hope when you read it, you appreciate the risk. Now, the next column is in a brief statement, identify the risk. Delayed accreditation of programs. Then, I request that you help me on this. What is the root cause? These are some of the ideas that the team came up with from the reports and other things, but can be improved. Number 1, inadequate funding. Number 2, weak follow-up mechanism. Number 3, delays in committee reporting. And 4, limited coordination among responsible officers. Is that the root cause? May I get some feedback? What is your feel? Deans, heads of departments. Is this the root cause of delayed accreditation of programs? Think about it. Who owns this risk? Please correct me. Correct the team, academic registrar and deans. Are they the risk owners? If programs have delayed, whom do we ask? Whom do we charge? Then the impact, it could be 5-5, but because some programs have gone through a bit faster, so it's 16. And 16 is among the heat. It is red. So what is the proposed? No, the risk decision cause is treated because it has high impact, high likelihood. So what is the proposed mitigation strategies? Remember, you are generating a register and you are putting all this information on only one, delayed accreditation of programs. Utilize a program accreditation tracker. If it were not for time, I'll demonstrate. Quality assurance, we have a program accreditation tracker, which shows when the program review was initiated at the department, the time it has taken, then at the faculty or school, up to National Council and final approval. Chair, DVC F&A, our biggest problem has been somebody to feed in the data. We have a limitation of somebody feeding in timely data on that. But that tool is already there to track delays in the program. Set clear timelines at each stage. We're supposed to have a client charter which specifies that the department, this is the duration, and it's a commitment. And that's where universities are going. It's not business as usual. And the government seems to be committed to that, having standards, clear time standards on program approval, admissions, and all other university activities. Assign responsible officers, require timely reporting, provide adequate funding for curriculum development, because there is a time when many programs were pushed to National Council, but we didn't have money to pay because you pay for it. What is the risk appetite for delayed program approval? Outside the appetite, meaning that we have to do something about it. According to the policy, I think the reporting should be quarterly, not semi-annual. We shall correct that. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to illustrate a second one, and then the third one, and the others, I'll request you to do something, an action. The second one, yes. It is also an operational risk. And the VC, our chief guest, mentioned it. Delays in marking, verification, approval, and the publication of results. The 91st Senate meeting noted that 4 out of the 12 academic units had not published 100% of student results, contrary to our examination regulation. I'm describing the risk. And in simple terms, it's missing, delayed, or falsified examination results. What is the root cause? This one you have to help. Delays by some lecturers in marking scripts, weak enforcement of results submission timelines, inadequate follow-up by departments, and gaps in results verification. Who owns this? Deans, heads of departments, and academic registrar. The order matters, meaning that dean is number 1. On the previous one, I put academic registrar is the champion. These ones just support. The likelihood is high. Sorry, the level should not be medium. It's high because it's 16. And the risk decision cause, we should treat. How should we treat? Enforce mandatory result submission timelines as provided by the policy. 2, require heads of departments and deans to monitor marking progress and report delays early. And 3, apply appropriate sanctions for unjustified or late submissions. We had a discussion with all the class coordinators in Kyambogo University, and they challenged us as quality assurance. They said, you demand money from us, and if we don't, there is a surcharge. But we also demand results from you, that when you fail to submit results in time, we cannot also do something. Can you help us to do something? And we took note, and I'm glad that top management is taking it very serious. Thank you so much. Such a risk is outside our appetite, and the monitoring review should be every semester. I want also to report the directorate as a risk. And it's a strategic risk. And the risk with the directorate of quality assurance is inadequate staffing of quality assurance, which limits effective monitoring of teaching and learning across the university. And the reference is the Q2 internal audit report for 2025-26 noted that the directorate had only 2 staff against the approved level of 11, thereby constraining the quality assurance coverage and follow-up. I can even end there, but we can identify the owner, the tolerance, but it's also red. Ladies and gentlemen, I've over-talked, which is contrary to the competence-based approach. I want us to have a reflection. I request you to identify one risk which you find so pertinent. And after that minute of reflection, I'll request some of you to share that risk. Then we shall work it through the register. Thank you so much. Possibly you can help afterwards. A few submissions can be made. What key risk that is affecting the university at a macro level that you think we should include and analyze? Just a minute, please. Identify and note down that risk. Even if you mention it vaguely, you may not be so technical, given the guidelines that were given, that you know have to be specific, you have to include the event, the source. But what is that key risk that is putting the integrity, the reputation, finance sustainability, and other aspects of the university at risk? Kindly identify only one. You can put up your hand if you have the answer. Yes.
Good afternoon, all. The risk I've identified is the late release of results for students. Okay. Maybe I follow the after the risk identification.
So you want to...
Who is responsible for this risk and the effect it has? I've identified the risk, the root cause. Members, help me, especially in teaching department. Why are results not out in time? And what effect does it have to our university? As we may all know, when you apply for a course, you want to finish, graduate, go and look for a job. We are in a competitive environment with the different universities. Before students consider Kyambogo, Makerere, Bustema, these are some of the key issues they look at. That when you study from Kyambogo, results are not out in time. There are strikes every now and then because of non-payment of lecturers. So you better go to Makerere where results are released early, graduate early, get your transcript, go and look for a job. What am I saying? What causes this? And which effect does it have? The final result or effect is students may opt out of Kyambogo University. What could be the root cause of this? Heads of departments, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm thinking that one of the reasons could be the huge classes that some departments have. And then previously, I don't know right now, we had quite a huge number of part-timers whose motivation to mark was limited by their delayed payments. So I don't know, maybe currently it's a different story, but I think that was one of them. Because when somebody is not paid, maybe they are not motivated to do the marking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Another reason I strongly feel is contributing to this is the competing interests. You see, you find we finish exams, even now we are saying we have central marking, but people are going in for ITCSP, they are going in for DC, CBET. So before then, you realize time has gone, and yet you set a deadline that this is. So then people start taking it that these deadlines are just put there for formalities. So I would wish that specific time is allocated. You are not going to the field, you first mark. The marking period is given time and not tempered with, so that we don't have those competing interests. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. All the root causes that Professor Nampal and Dr. Evelyn have given are correct, but I also want to supplement. The other one is, you see, for us in these universities in developing countries, we teach too much. You find one instructor is expected to teach 15 hours a week. Those 15 hours will be, I think, like 5 or 4 course units. So if you have 4 course units to mark, assuming every course unit, like in SOME, has an average of 500 scripts, how many scripts will one individual be having at the end of the semester? So it becomes very hard for this individual to submit the marks in time. Remember that in our system, we don't have graduate fellows and research fellows and research assistants who are under normal circumstances supposed to be assisting the professors in achieving some of these milestones. So one of the solutions could actually be that. Then the other root cause to me, I think, is lack of an institutional culture. If the culture in Kyambogo was that in 1 week after the end of examinations, all the results are already on the students' portal. Everyone who would join Kyambogo would do whatever it takes to make sure that the results are there. But when you recruit this person, and maybe in their first semester here, they submit the results within week 1 or week 2, but they realize even 4 months later, others have not submitted. Next semester, they say, when you go where they eat dogs. Thank you very much.
Yes, I like the fact that we have solutions to this.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I agree with the colleagues. Actually, she has talked about the numbers in my department. On average, each class has about 300. Now you have a lecturer has 5 course unit. Look at the number of script. But the point I want to add is attitude. Our attitude. You find that someone has a few students, but the time to demand for results, he has not marked. And you really wonder, somebody who has many has marked, but this one with a few has not marked. I think attitude also is one of the key reasons why there is delay in releasing result. Thank you.
Thank you. You can identify a risk.
Thank you, Chair. I don't teach, but I think from what I have heard, I think those risks are true. But all in all, I think there is also supervision. Supervision. There must be somebody who tells these lecturers that at a certain time, these marks should be on the portals. If they are not there, is there what are the what would I say? What are the effects they will do to these lecturers? Will they delay pay? Will they do something? Is there something to it? But like Shah said, if there's nothing being done, then we also adapt like the others are doing.
Thank you. Any other risk identified?
Thank you so much. Yes, DVC F&A is coming in, and possibly you can also comment, because so far we have 6 risks causes. So how do we come up with a route? Because those could be sub-routes. But what is the tap route? We have large numbers, competing interests, poor institutional culture, attitude, limited supervision by HODs.
Can I add on?
Yes, please.
To me, it is enforcement.
Okay.
You have seen the policies. Even this one will go to waste if there is no enforcement. But you cannot enforce if you are not providing support. The two move together. Where you have not invested, you don't expect. So, to me, it is enforcement. And enforcement, I like the way you put it, that for those who have no justifiable reasons, there should be sanctions. In other words, there is some form of tolerance even in enforcement. Because I expect in supervision, I first talk to you, I write to you, and then I take you for disciplinary. But you just jump, take me to disciplinary before you even talk to me. And where you have not invested, because I think we have a tendency of go and manage. I manage with what? So say I have given you this. I was talking to my colleague here. We give them money for training every year. That is the support we are giving them. But we never follow up to see when we invested money, what did we get in return? So you can write these policies, you can come here and talk, but after here, if you go to sleep, nothing will happen. So to me, from where I sit, that is something we really need to work on. I don't mean harassing people. No. There should be no harassment. The harassment comes and you feel it, it is justifiable. Because if I've talked to you, if I've written to you, then in the end when I'm harassing, I'm really justified. So let us follow up and give the sanctions. But I don't mean harassment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chief, you can comment on how do we come up with the route? How do we zero, for instance, on enforcement or enforcement and finance blended to know the root cause and who is going to own this? Kindly comment on that.
Thank you for the presentation. For me, surely, my observation is that we know the root causes, and I don't think I am competent enough to rank what is the main cause. But during interviews and interaction at the departmental level, we can be in a position to rank what is the main cause, and based on that, we shall be trying to pull out the key root cause so that we propose the real mitigant. But I can confirm that what for me comes out clearly is an issue of non-enforcement. Ada has used another language called supervision. With my boss here, he said non-enforcement. But I think together we can start the shift in culture change. I was in the Senate, you were also there. People talk about numbers in Some, but the deans we are saying the faculties and the schools, I don't want to give an example, but they gave it, which have very few students. They are the ones who submit results last. So we tend always to hide under that. Previously, we used to use the issue of part-time teaching, that part-time lecturers are not yet paid. But now, because people know that is no longer risky, now they are shifting to numbers. But even then, part-time lecturers would submit results earlier than full-time lecturers. If we can combine changing our culture and attitude towards releasing results, and we support it with supervision, I think we can manage this risk effectively.
Thank you so much for the discussions. Indeed, that's how you should develop the register. Have to interact with people, diagnose the problem, the root causes, and rank even the causes to identify the critical one, and you position the risk. I thank you so much for those submissions. And I want to state also that the register changes. Last year, when we had it, for us it was a preliminary register. We had delayed payment of part-time staff as a risk, but we removed it because it's no longer an issue now. And what we've reported now is excessive reliance on part-time staff, which poses a risk to teaching quality, continuity, accountability, and staff commitment. And we're referring to the May 2026 payroll. Part-time lecturers broadly constituted around 46% of the teaching staff, which may contribute to missed lecturers, weak follow-up, reduced institutional attachment, and staff motivation. And we are positioning this risk to Human Resource Directorate is the one to help us manage that. And we really need to treat the risk accordingly. Much as the part-time staff have been paid, heavily relying on them is risky. Now, using the blanket register, our percentage is around 46%. But if you move, you are to extract a departmental risk register on over-reliance on part-timers, you'll find that for some, it is 80%. Some departments are relying so heavily on part-time staff. And this means that the departmental risk register will be different from the faculty risk register, will be also different from the overall university risk register. So we need to have champions at all levels so that together we have a win-win strategy on risk management. In case you have a comment, observation to make, before I conclude, please put up your hand on adoption of this risk register. I'll make a call finally. Any comment, please? Okay. This is a final call. It's not an altar call. It is an asset register and risk register call. If you commit that this is a tool that is worthy adopting to help us in managing risks, please put up your hand. If you appreciate that Kyambogo University should adopt a risk register to improve accountability please put up your hand. DVC, you are taking note that we are all committing to adopt the risk register, apart from a few individuals. Thank you so much. I conclude.
Thank you very much, Professor, for that academic altar call. It is some way of commitment, and that's what happens. Now some interlude, small.
Find a road where love ain't gone. But tonight, this old died. I still hear your voice alive.
Okay, thank you. We are coming to the beginning of the end of this event, and now what we are going for is a way forward, and we expect all of us to participate. Actually, if you have a way forward, you have some suggestion to make, you have a question from the overview by the Chief Internal Auditor and the supplementary State of the University address by the US, the VC's remarks, now to the presentation by the Director Quality Assurance. This is the way forward. You will put your hand up, you will get the microphone, suggest something, say something, ask something, and then that will be the second last presentation, and then we will close. It's a few minutes that we have. Let's use them.
Yeah, thank you. I can be allowed to, because this is a discussion. So, and if you have any questions, after presentations, there are some issues that may not be clear. Let us discuss them and be to the point if you have any question. And I think the presenters are still here and the owners of the risks are here. Mine is just to guide the discussion, question, and the feedback session. Then my expectation is when we are done with this, audit the owners of this. We read us some of the way forward. And then if you agree, we say yes. If you want to improve, we improve. But before, I was also picking some few things. Some of them I'll be the last person to speak. But I don't know the difference between appetite and greed. Because, in our culture, when the head of the home likes, they are going to say envy. You don't say he's greedy. Say he has appetite. So I was just relating to this appetite, risk, appetite, Isn't it part of greed when it is excessive? But the experts, they are putting it in the tolerance limits, I also have my views, but my request is that let us make it simple. Let's avoid these technical. I've been, yes, if you are from audit, bring it. For us, we are scientists. We don't know these big words of arts people. Because if you want something from us who are not experts in this language, make it simple. Make it palatable. Don't make it. When you hike it, you don't get what you want. Because we are here, I really must thank you for your commitment. It shows that you really mean well for this university, and you want to see it improve. So, I'll take some questions, some comments, and I'll start with the physics. Who is moving the microphone? I want somebody who is very active. I wish they are. Is it one or two? Please. 1, 2, 3. Let's first take the 3.
Thank you very much, presenters, all of you. Mine is very small. There's something that I did not hear properly, and that is the management of the risk management. For example, if we have our risk register at the department and we filled up everything, then what next? Where do we communicate? And how do we get the feedback? What is the flow of processes as we manage risk in Kyambogo? Thank you very much.
Are you from Music in the Corner? I can't see your face properly. You know, my eyes have seen many. But it is good also to introduce yourself, because don't miss this chance.
Okay.
Yeah, say your name and your
Yes.
department. And
My name is Dr. Chen from the physics department. Mine is to do with the register, the risks register. For example, when Prof was giving her speech, she said that she displayed the register there for us, and she said that at a certain point you have to score the risks, I think. My challenge here is how is the scoring done? It's not very clear. For example, you have a score of 16, and if I get it right, 16 probably means the risk is supposed to be owned by either management, council, department, some things like that. So the scoring has to be very clear so that we are able to do this at the department. Thank you.
My name is Happy Kutesa from the library. Yes, thank you. I wanted to raise a question, but I want to first begin with painting a scenario. About, I think by around November last year, the Department of Human Resource, Directorate of Human Resource trained us on developing what they called a training plan. And many of us did not probably understand what to do next, and then we didn't act. So this year we had a colleague who applied to be trained, and when the directorate received that application, they responded and requested that that person attaches a training plan for the whole department, which the person actually did not have and the whole department did not have. Now, I wanted to know, are there any implications or repercussions for a department which may develop this risk register? And if there are there, then we need to know the timeframes within which actually one is expected to be developed. Thank you very much.
Three? Yes, I expect. Oh, there is another one? Okay, there are 3. Let's first handle the 3. You come next. Okay.
Davis, you clarify that we should introduce ourselves. I hadn't. My name is Hasfan Ampala from Mathematics and Statistics.
I can see 2 of you are negotiating. You bring. What are you negotiating? So, the first question was about the feedback and the flow. I think the chief. Chief, this is let's start with the chief. Make comments on the three, and then I have the two presenters here. And if you also want to supplement, I think it is okay.
I don't. My audit team, we want to begin. You heard the question.
We start with the principal, because in hierarchy.
Thank you very much, DVSF and the Air Chief Internal Auditor, and all participants. If I had the question well, it was like, what is the management of risk management? Is it? So in other words, if there is risk management, then what next? Risk management, it's a wide concept. It is there to ensure that objectives and goals are achieved. So when you identify the risks at your level, if you're a professor, you're an office attendant, you're a lecturer, you are an auditor, all roles, there are risks involved. And then you develop a risk register, as we have been guided, that detailed document, which shows all the events that may happen. That
You summarize, we may not have much time, because what people want is, after I have made a register at the department, where next?
Okay.
And
when you have
what is
finished
the
making a
apex?
register,
Yeah?
it is a top-down approach. The department makes its risk register, submits to the faculty, then the faculty consolidates the risk registers from the various departments, then various departments and faculties and schools will submit their risk registers to the internal audit department. We shall consolidate those into the university-wide risk register, which will be presented to top management, and top management will take action depending on the rating of those risks, as they have already earlier discussed that some risks are to be managed by council, others by top management, and others by yourself. Then depending.
That is enough. Let us manage.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
The
If
feedback.
it has reached, then if it has come from me, how does it come back to me? And again, you see there is a register. This is what I read between lines. There is a register, but then what you are doing with the register. You understand? This is how, because now we are talking about the register, we have made it. But if I have utilized it, so does it follow the same? And if there are scores, how do I get a feedback? For example, like those which are high level. You can just summarize. But summarize, give us some light on what exactly happens. But don't take too much time.
Okay, basically, the bigger part Alex has covered it. Once the risk register has been presented, top management, audit committee, and council, because there are issues which go to council, we are going to be intentional to report, because as we report, some strategies even will change. And in some areas, you'll find management is putting the mitigants there, they are handling. Then we shall be even holding regular meetings with faculties. And during that time, it is to monitor the performance on mitigation measures. So the first one is that once it is presented and approved, you'll be getting back the university risk register so that you know whether your risks are populated and what is the status, what is happening on them. So you'll be getting feedback.
Thank you so much.
And you. There are 3 questions. One was on feedback. The another one is on the score. And how is the scoring done? But another one is like a training plan. This risk register, if I don't have it, what will you do? Isn't it what you mean? Yes. So What are the sanctions? Eh?
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to respond to the scoring, but you also had a question on the difference between greed and appetite. And you are challenging us, why don't we use simpler languages? And the simpler term is, what can you tolerate? There are people who are risk seekers. They'll have a very high appetite for risk. Because every time, they enjoy risk. But there are people who are risk averse. They have a low appetite for risk. But using a simple term is that, what can you tolerate? Can you tolerate it or not? But I want to move to the scoring. Typically, when you are scoring the risk, it's like a research study where you have the likelihood and the impact. Typically, we use questionnaires. And it's better all members in the department participate. Like one can rate it very high, another one average, but at the end, you get an average position. Generate a questionnaire where you've identified all risks in the department, and then let people individually score them, and then mathematically, you can get an average score of whether it's high or not using the matrix of impact times livelihood. So it's scientifically determining. But also the brainstorming sessions and interviews like what we are having now can help you to analyze the risk. It's a study. You study and analyze the risk. Thank you, Chair.
I've been, let me use this one. They are all avoiding enforcement. If I don't have this risk register, what will you do? Me, I'm putting it here in black and white. And they're pushing it to me. I think as we debate, enforcement is key. What I've seen in this university, we talk a lot. When it comes follow up, nothing. We want to wake up when there is a problem and you start pointing fingers. So mine is like, if you know this is good for the university and it's good for you. I was challenging him, are you going to give gold medals? The World Cup is on. Who is going to get a gold medal? Because once you start scoring, me, I'm from the teaching background. If you score, you give me a very good, you give me a certificate. In business, you give me money, you know. So are we going to have a time when we shall say that this school or this department performed very well? I think this is something we really need to think about. We just can't leave it open for God and my country. We just can't. Eh? So here, I think you related it very well. You suffer as a lecturer if, for example, you want something and they say if you don't have a risk register. When you never followed it up, but I want something from management, they say, where is your training plan? Hey, I'm just a simple person. So I hope when they are bringing their accountabilities, you'll not say, now, where is the, you don't have a training register, and rather a risk register, if you are not careful, the 60 days will get you and you will refund the money. I think me, who put it simply, you can add on this.
Just I want to add from what you have said. First of all, it would be in violation of the university policies and procedures, for starters. But, and when you violate, the director of human resources here, you will guide us. But when we are doing risky register, we are going to use this risk register for financial allocation. Because we are saying one of the benefits of risk management is position where risks lie. And the university is going to allocate resources basing on the risks populated. Now, if your school does not populate where they need support to manage the risks, you will find you are suffering as a faculty and a school. So the point we are making, before even we think of sanctions, it is important if we want to be efficient and effective to implement risk management. You cannot be very efficient if you are not doing risky management. So, that is what I can say. But the commitment I see is that before even we think of sanctions, this is going to be a guiding tool when they are allocating resources.
So can we take a set? Can we take another set of comments? There was a hand somewhere, I think. Yes, Prof. Then start with you are starting from where? You should look at me when you are. I'm the one. You should look at me and I guide you. Start there. Come and start here. She's the one who put her hand first. We need to be seen to be fair. Yeah. Otherwise, you want to accuse me of cheating. Eh? Fairness, and it is part of the risk, you know. Yeah?
Thank you very much. You forgive me if what I asked was covered when I was not around, but there has been some criticisms that there is a tendency. I appreciate, yes, these policies we are putting in place, but there has been some criticism that there is sometimes a tendency of, you see people, they have so many policies in place, but then the realities don't seem to reflect that really all these policies are in place. So when I, from a local angle, when I hear of the word risk, my imagination is that you're overseeing something that is about to come, and then you are warning seriously, like if I'm in a plane and something is going to happen, you are warning seriously. And I was wondering, in terms of this document, are there like warning signs, some aspects which are put in like action on, which like a head has to do in terms of this risk before a dean has to do, so that we don't remain just with the policies in place, but there is something that is, it is coming as something that is going to lead to our improvement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. You know, when you talk of punishment, you need to be clear. So punish who? For example, you're a member of a faculty and your dean has not submitted the risk register, and it is attached to budgeting, so they're not going to give resources. Now the punishment drops down to the dean in person or to the entire faculty. And when it drops to the faculty, then our stakeholders, our main stakeholders, who are the students, does it negatively affect them? And therefore, I don't know whether internal audit has put in place mechanisms of alerting the deans that you're about to put your major stakeholders at risk, such that they respond. Like, for example, the Directorate of Planning normally writes to deans and say, you have not yet submitted your quarterly report. Submit it by this date. Maybe also internal audit has to do that. And then after that, then the next question is, what is the frequency of this register? Is it, do you submit it every financial year? Do you submit it every semester, every month, every week? When? So the frequency is supposed to be clear. And the timelines. When is the deadline for it to be submitted? Because someone could prepare it, but they don't submit it. And then the timelines must be very clear, and the frequency.
I think you have opened the can of worms. Okay. This one I'm not going to handle easily.
Thanks, Chair. I want to congratulate the Audit Department upon this big milestone.
of coming up with a risk management policy and guidelines for the Kyambogo University. This is longer overdue. Now, my point is on implementation. This conference alone is not going to handle all this. As you can see, there are so many questions. My suggestion is that maybe audit gets it uproots itself to the schools and the faculties, and maybe have a focal person in audit, maybe a desk officer like we have desk officers, so that they go on and tell these people about this and answer all these questions on your behalf as audit, so that it enlightens all those people on what they are asking for purposes of feedback and implementation. Like you say, your theme is saying navigating uncertainties. These are uncertainties which need to be made certain. So they, like the Dean Faculty of Vocational Studies, is it? Has said they need guidance on this. Just implementation. I think this conference is not enough. I submit.
From School of Computing. No, my expectation here as you get the microphone. Any past people from audit, you have to tell me the way forward. You must have been making notes. These people are talking. My expectation is you have to tell us the way forward. Mine is to moderate. I'm not the one who's going to write to the way forward. It is you to implement. Tell us, what have you picked? Why did you invite us here? You didn't invite us here to look at us. So that's how I do my things, as for you to speak, and they pick out what they are going to do and tell us. That's how we are going to conclude. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. My issue is on the risk identification and categorization. I had it involving questionnaires, collect data, analyze it. And I'm asking, who will be doing that? Is it the HOD, the Dean? Who will be conducting that study? And how often are we going to, is it going to be done? Is it per semester? Is it per every academic year? I don't know. Then secondly, in some section we saw that risk management touches every staff. If that is the case, then more trainings will be required. I don't know whether you have any plans concerning that, because many of our staff, they are not around here to express themselves. Thank you.
As long as they are in the budget, they are not in the next budget, which is already passed. I don't know how we cut out your trainings. We will give you money. Do you have another set? Let's first handle. Maybe it can generate the last set of questions, and then we see what to do. I expect audit to be putting your things together for the way forward. Normally there would be a laptop and you would be making a presentation there for members to discuss. That's something, normally that's what is done. Yeah? I've been doing this work for many years in other organizations. When you are handling the last bit, there should be rapporteuring, and I think we really need to learn. And then for what we have agreed on, it is displayed, but you will take over from me. You give us what to discuss and agree as a way forward. And I want to give it some ample time, because we want to leave this place. A lot of questions have been raised, a lot of concerns, and we really need to know the way forward. So there was, what is it? I don't know, DRGT. You said these policies are there. So does it mean the expectation, the reality? You are talking about the reality. What is expected? I don't know. Who is going to handle this? You handle. Then another one is about the punishment. this punishment thing, I like the way you put it. Who is going to be punished? The dean? Eh? So our stakeholders shouldn't suffer because of actions and inactions of a certain individual. Yeah. So, and the frequency. Then another one was, you really need to guide us on the implementation. Yeah. And lastly was on these studies. The computer guy, whatever he talked about involved money. And I'm looking at these people with sympathy. If you never put it in your budget, where you get the money for training? But I also believe not every training needs money. We really need to do some work without expecting any payment, because this is good for our university. So you know how you navigate and tell us exactly what to do, because I like the way you have been attentive. You are raising pertinent issues. So my comments end here on these questions, and you take over you and quality assurance.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, I am very happy with the comments you are making. How I wish even the other people are not here, we are here. But I want to emphasize what Ada has suggested, that after here, internal audit is going to be intentional so that we meet at faculty level. We shall be engaging deans. If you heard the VC, he said training and capacity building is immediate. That is one. The issue of frequency and reporting timelines. The policy talks about quarterly, but we are just beginning. So what will be happen? We are now going to apply a bit of tolerance. Our view was that if we engage faculties and departments, by the end of the first quarter for the new financial year, we have a risk register from each faculty and school and the departments. When I mean departments, I mean administrative departments. For example, like Bursar's office, internal audit, consolidated. Then we shall be reviewing it at the end of the financial year, because people may get fatigue. So for starting, we shall first get that first risk register. We consolidate it, we take it to management. Then at the end of the financial year, we shall again test whether the risks we populated at first still exist. Then we do a bit of refreshing. That is on frequency. Then once we have done it for a year, then we can now go to quarterly. Because now when you apply quarterly, it may be a bit tricky. Now, on Professor Elizabeth, she's saying risk implementation, is there something which is going to collapse on us? No. Risk is anything which you anticipate can stop you from achieving the intended objectives. As a faculty, as a school, as a department, you have objectives. Okay? You talked about policies. For example, non-complying to policies is a risk itself. So, you are saying, is there anything that in this policy that shows you what is going to worry you? The key risks were populated by the director, quality assurance. And even DVC F&A was telling me here, what is our focus? And I think he will emphasize, as we are doing risk management, the key risks which are being talked about, they are talking about exam results, right? That is a key risk. Now we are talking about alignment of programs to competent based. Those are key risks, okay? But in terms of trying to create comfort, we are going to come at your place and we'll try to engage. As I finish, risk identification, my brothers. Risk identification is not only done by questionnaires. You can do a meeting. The department can call a meeting. In a meeting, you can identify risks. Even risk rating, you can do interview. You say, according to this risk, how do you see? Is it high or low? We are using a scale of 1 to 5. You can hold the workshop. But the beauty is that you are not going to be doing many times. So there are many models, and we are going to share material on how risk identification is done. Frequency I've handled. Punish. Who is affected? At the department level, the person who is accountable is the head of department. At a faculty or a school, the person who is accountable is the dean of the school or the dean of the faculty. Is the accounting officer in that perspective. So, but you realize that even you have been getting resources when there has not been a systematic risk management. But the point I am making is that if you don't benefit adequately. You will not allocate your resources properly where it matters. But we shall make sure that it works everywhere seamlessly. I think that as the chair I can leave to the quality assurance.
Yeah, thank you so much. Indeed, Chief, you've answered almost all of them to a great extent. The concern is on implementation of this policy. And it's true that many policies are on paper and they are not implemented. And one of them is the quality assurance policy. But the difference between that and this one is that here we have guidelines. The quality assurance policy didn't have guidelines. But the new policies, they are approved with guidelines. And at least the guidelines support implementation. I want to commend the audit for doing that. Having a policy with guidelines. And on top of the guidelines, we have a tool. The asset register is a key tool that can help to implement this policy. The missing link is the personnel. From experience in the Directorate of Quality Assurance, I have quality assurance coordinators. And at times when somebody does not submit the report, asks you, Mukokoma, if I don't submit it, what will you do? It's not my mandate. I'm just helping you. It's any ETC. If I don't submit the report, what will you do? Because I'm hired here as a lecturer, as a teacher. So we have to be intentional on the personnel. Who, that was his question, who is going to collect data? And we don't want political data. We need actual data. Because the data and the scoring will influence decisions up to council. Lo and behold, if we are using data that is not concrete, my appeal is that we identify people who will be in charge of the registers to collect actual data. As we are developing the information that I shared on the program accreditation, we had to call Secretariat Accreditation Programs Committee. We had to go to HR. You see, data is scattered. We need a central place where we can get objective data, but also in the units, we need a risk manager who will champion the data entry. Thank you.
Much. Do you have other questions? Maybe this is a time for me also to make comments and also ask. And this time, I'll pick people to answer. The rest, Okay, please. The two of you, then I'll make my comments and raise a question after the two. I really want to thank you for managing time very well.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Pans Emma from Physics Department. Want to thank management and internal audit for this workshop on risk management. I'm coming from the science perspective, and my question is, you've talked about risks. Like, for example, a risk was outlined, like a building burning or a laboratory burning. Is there an insurance policy that takes care of that? Or is the laboratory technician responsible, or maybe the student operating in that laboratory? Are they the ones responsible? Thank you.
HR? CHR? Yes. We don't want you to lose your voice, just...
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Management, the Chief Internal Auditor, and DVC for steering this. And I thank you, Professor Morris, for your presentation. And I agree and I associate with a lot of these discussions that this is yet the beginning. Of course, when you look at that date, it is 2024. And when we restructured in 2020, there was a risk management unit created. And together with that risk structure, it was difficult to start issues of risk until they said, no, let internal audit spearhead. And that's why I thank internal audit for taking on. Some of them were reluctant that this is not our Lubengo. But we said, no, this is related to internal audit. And as you can see, it has ramifications, quality assurance, human resource. At one point, I was absent-minded. Then I heard that I am the owner of a certain risk. Now I started asking myself, as you are trying to gravitate towards this identification risk, what it is, the root cause and ownership, how do you zero on the owner, that you are the owner of a risk? My understanding is that you will ask yourself a few questions. Does that owner you are saying is an owner have the resources to address that problem? Does that person have the decision power to address that problem? So those are some of the questions. So in identifying ownership, what do you ascertain? Because ownership can also be put at different levels. If you look at the way structures are made, the ownership can be put at different levels. Aren't we thinking about this? So those are, that is one thing. Then the next thing is the fact that Professor Morris talked about committees of risk management in various faculties and departments. But it appears there are certain challenges with managing those committees. What are they, for example? One of which was that they were questioning, supposing I don't give you a report, what will you do to me? And there are safeguards to that. When the quality assurance policy was established and where committees were put in place, their roles and responsibilities, including sanctions. I've been wondering about this, and we need to discuss this so that we put things in perspective. Otherwise, I think about risk planning or making a risk register. I think we can incorporate this in the planning and budgeting cycle of events, just like we tend to do. But it will require a lot of agreement between the various managers to harmonize these activities. Because at times when for you think You want to harmonize your activities with others. There are others who want to do it alone. That silos is still present. Thank you.
From where I stopped, Ada, you have something to say? No, I think we can end here, but not end. I'm the last person to ask questions, and this time I will need contributions from you. But I'll start from where HR stopped. About if I don't, I think there is a way we should structure our appraisal system. That when I do something extra, when we met a team from Akura Technical University, we were talking about MOUs, and we were asking, how do you manage the MOUs? For us, we were told if they appoint you to manage an MOU, it is picked as part of your appraisal. In other words, at the end of the year, they're asking, we gave you an MOU, how far? And I think that is something we really need to do, especially with appraising. If I am, is it just enough? Is it, you need a letter to show? I hope you appoint them. Because these days, they ask about what you have done for the university. If I am on that committee, I think I need to be appointed that when HR asks for, that is a motivation. Yeah, it may not be in terms of money. And even when I have served, did you ever give me a thank you letter? These are things that do not need money, but we don't usually do them. Yeah, people don't need money per se. But just looking at the letter that I have been serving for the next 10 years, and you can also show your grandchildren what they can land on it when you're already dead. I will say, oh, our grandpa or ma used to act like this and this. But I also have a comment, and finally I set a question, and I need some people to help me. We talked about reports. Who presented, I think this was quality assurance. We talk about reports, but where do these reports go, and where are they discussed? For example, we have Senate. We rarely discuss reports. And it is a risk. You give us resources, you don't ask for reports, we don't even see it anywhere where I think we need to be intentional. If we are even planning for our meetings, for future meetings, like I'm having a problem with strategic plan. We have a new strategic plan, but soon I've been telling the departments I supervise that I think I need to know what you are going to be doing the next 5 years. Not just waiting for the budget conference and then you start talking about things. At least let's have some document where we can refer to, and then we can adjust accordingly depending on the circumstances. But at least let us have a plan. So these reports, I'm having an issue. I think quality assurance, you should pick this, that we should always ask for reports, and when these reports are presented, I think we pick out things we can. We may not attend to everything, but at least we can attend to some few things. Then that takes me to risk management system. I supervise digits, and I believe in systems. And I tie it to what the director quality assurance called the program tracker. This program tracker, where is it? For example, can the VC sit in his office and click and see this is where we are? Or it is just on your PC? And if it is on your PC, do you have the same information as the academic registrar? Or it is just, we will, I think, give you some stuff, especially, and as a way forward, I think it is very, very urgent, at least to capture this data before we go into the system. But Chief Internal Audit, you are just talking on hard copies. Things have moved. Digits have been developing some of these. If you look at our website, you see a lot of those who have access. is it a code website or what? There are so many. The dicts have developed a lot, but they are not in use at all. Why don't we collapse those ones and have a risk management system where a department enters and quality assurance can see? And I really think there's no big difference between quality assurance and internal audit. I'm really thinking, why should we have two committees? We are lacking staff. People are asking you, then you disintegrate. I think a person who does quality assurance, I'm just thinking aloud, you can easily also transit. When it comes to reporting quality assurance, you report quality assurance. When it comes to internal audit, because these committees, there can be some fatigue. So on the committees, that's what I think, but I'm insisting on the risk management system, and I don't see ourselves saying in the next financial year or after this financial year, this university should be having a risk management system which is online. It will not be by these hard copies and the like. And when you take a decision, then me as a supervisor, I take it to Digits. That this is, you even write to us that you report it to management and Digits takes it up. Digits, they are doing that, they have no work to do because you don't give them work. You are comfortable with your hard copies. So, quality assurance, I really need to see your data on the system, so that when I'm sitting in my office, I can see what is being done and what is not being done. Now, my question is, you know a procurement plan. You know a work plan. Whenever you go to the US will say, this is not in your work plan, I'm not giving you money. This is not in a procurement plan, we cannot procure. Now, I see this register, and in my head, it is still vague. Is it just a register? When do you come back to me and see whether I am performing or not? To me, it is missing. At the end of this, now that we've created a financial year, they tell you according to your procurement plan and work plan, this is the score. And the score is on utilization of what? Of funds. This is what you plan to do, this is what you have achieved. In this register, I don't see it. I've made a register, so what? I don't know, maybe you understand it. Me, I don't understand it. Because if I'm making a register and sending it to you, and you have like a procurement plan, when do you come back to me and say, oh, this is what you agreed to do, and this is what you have done? And what is the frequency? Planning asks for quarterly reports. Are we going to ask for quarterly reports? And when I submit, so what? The other ones have money. For you, what do you have? That allocation of resources? Only? I think we really need to understand it better and publish. To me, it is publication to justify why you are not getting resources. We really need to move to where I know how do I know how I've performed against others? I think somebody should help me. Do we have scorecards in this on this register, risk register? That's where I want to end, but it is not very clear to me. Risk register. So what? That are used to allocate resources? So, who is going to go down there and see this has been done? Where is the report? Are we expecting, for example, quarterly reports which can be cross-checked? Or it will be like I'm told in competence-based. Some schools can even score you when you have not sat an exam and it is put on the UNEB system. But for us in examination, we have what we call moderation. Who is going to moderate this and say science? It's not like the Nigerians where they say you have a population of 10 million when you have 2 because you want money. Those are some of the lingering questions, and I wish all of you can answer can contribute to these answers. What do you expect? What is in your mind? Me, it is not very clear. It's not enough to say that you are going to get resources. It's not. To me, it is not enough. And how do you find out that this one scored 100, this scored 5? So I really need some help there. And then after that, I'll hand over to CIA to give us a way forward of what they have picked from our discussion. And then if there is anything missing, you add it on, and then off we are doing very well. I really want to stop by 2. I've been told that I'm the one to close, so yes, so I still have another function to do. But it is you to allow me to close. If you are not satisfied, we continue. Okay. Over to you. All of us. To me, this is for all of us. Thank you.
Let me start. Thank you, my supervisor, for your comments. But to make facts clear, even just having a risk register, even if you don't submit it anywhere, it is an achievement. Because one, you would have known the risks you are facing, and in that register, you would populate the control measures or the mitigants. That is one. In terms of who is going to be monitoring, internal audit, we are going to be doing a risk evaluation. How are departments, faculties doing risk management? And we are going to be reporting stop management. For now, as the chief HR said, for us as audit, we are not the ones to be doing secretariat work for risk management. But we are doing it so that the process can begin. And the focal person, that is the conversation we want to have with management. We want management to support one of our audit staff to be a focal person, and that staff will be removed from doing audit work, so that we create the issue of independence. So he will be focusing pure on risk. Then for us audit, from where we sit, we are going to be doing an evaluation of effectiveness of risk management. In terms of reporting, you have said it, the policy provides quarterly. But for now, as you highlighted, we are starting. So we are saying, let us begin. If we can get the first register, then as we wait even for the system, which is going to be developed by DITS, but what we are proposing currently, we are going to develop what we call a Google Drive. That Google Drive is going to be linked to all faculties and the departments or people who are doing who are the focal persons for risk. And whatever they will be doing, we would be seeing it from audit perspective. So it is an Excel tool, but it's going to be a bit advanced. As we wait for the program from ICT, we would be grateful. But starting is always not very simple. So when you start it with using a system, sometimes also it can clog the whole process. So we want them to use an easy tool, which is Excel, which they are comfortable. But from audit where we sit, we are going to link it to Google Drive, so we'll be in a position to see what is happening. So the assurance I want to give you, as a university, we are safer at each level to have a risk register and to have your risk register consolidated and discussed at both top management, which is the risk management committee, and discussed at audit committee and discussed at council. The other thing we are going to achieve is that with implementation of risk management, quality assurance on a quarterly basis is going to be given an agenda item through you to make sure that she comes and shares how we are performing on risk management. So with that, you see there is a level of assurance that we can proceed safely.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to comment on the difference between internal audit and quality assurance. Yes, we can shake hands.
Just a moment. Please, the difference is there, but can you please give me the intersection also? As you give the differences, also where do you intersect? Because when quality assurance, Chief Internal Auditor says that you will be given a slot. So this is something you are doing. What are you going to be working together on? Yes. So, but you can also talk about the differences.
Thank you. And I'm going to use a very simple language and perspective. The internal auditors are ambassadors of the Auditor General, whereas quality assurance, we are ambassadors of National Council for Higher Education. But we meet, we shake hands on assurance services, because it's not only about financial accountability where the internal auditor should focus, but they should assure students, for instance, that when they enroll, they'll get quality education. On that line, we do share hands on assurance services. Thank you.
Now that you have opened it, I thought quality assurance was general for the whole university, not only, because everything fits in teaching and learning. Whether it is money, for example, I've been asking myself, if we gave you staff, when we also reach internal audit, bursar's office, and make sure there is some quality assurance? Because quality assurance is key. And when you go to some of these Kenyan universities, you find they are accredited. And part of it is that is a quality assurance system. And when you are accredited, you are not accredited only on teaching programs. I think as you start with the academics, everything in this university feeds in academics. And if you had staff, I also need some quality assurance in my office. You really need to come and knock on my door and say, are you doing this right? This is, that's why I say really, that handshake with audit is very important, because for you, yours fits in academics. Whatever we do here, whether results or paying money or HR appointing staff, all of it is fits in academics. I really wanted to make that comment, and to me, that's where I want this university to be. That quality assurance is in every aspect, not only in academics, because everything fits in academics. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. According to our structure, the structure of the directorate, we have two arms: academic quality assurance and administrative quality assurance, meaning that we have to blend academic and administrative. But because of resource constraint, personnel and finance, we have focused more on academic. And I'm so glad with the promise of top management to strengthen quality assurance. Surely, on the administrative arm, we shall also be visible. I appreciate. We have a dream of becoming ISO certified as a Kyambogo University. Yes, it's a dream, but we don't want to be embarrassed. So we want to do an internal self-assessment. Are we ready? Can we go there? So that it's not about National Council compliance. We are moving beyond compliance to continuous improvement, where we build a culture of excellence in Kyambogo University. Thank you, Chair.
Now, Chief Internal Audit, listen carefully and you lead us into the way forward, because I'm giving you 5 minutes. If you want.
Thank you. From the conversation we have had since morning, these are suggested way forward. I'm trying to look for where we have written them.
The minute is gone.
The first one is for faculties, schools and departments, administrative departments, to identify a contact person for risk management, whom we call the risk champion, and how we wish the identification could be formalized and appointed at that level. That is one. And we would wish this one should happen before the beginning. We can say by the beginning of the financial year. Then the other one is capacity building and training. Depending on the availability of the staff in faculties and schools, we shall coordinate it. Our belief is that we may not need money to do. We can try to see what is possible. So we are proposing to do a capacity building training. We have experts there. They will go there and train. Then the third one is production of a risk register. From every school or faculty at the end of the first quarter for the new financial year. Meaning that the registers will come from departments, then they feed into faculty or the school. But from audit perspective, for us, we shall be receiving from faculties and school. Then the fourth action, I think Charles Mukoza, you are listening, and the Deputy US, dissemination of all policies and regulations of the university so that they are accessible on the website. Those are the ones I picked, but Chair, you can guide if there is something I have forgot.
Is there anything you have missed out? Yeah? Is there anything you have missed out? Yeah, there's something I have not heard. When are you going to have a system? Tell us.
Which system, Chair?
I mean, these things should be online. You don't want hard copies.
Okay.
Yes, the Google is not enough. The Google document is not enough. So this meeting should go with some anticipation that maybe by the end of the financial year, I find that is missing.
Okay.
Yeah, to me that is key. I believe in systems. What assurance? Is there anything you have missed out? Yeah.
So I think for systems, you pledged to support us.
But it's not captured in your way forward.
Okay, so
that's a submission.
The way forward is to engage the DVCF and A and DIGITS to support us on the development of the risk management policy system by the end of the financial year. But currently we are going to be using the Google Drive. We shall share the Google Drive and the templates. Our team will share and we shall start using that so that at least we have a starting point.
Improvement because you have been listening in. I think for now, let us agree. There are 5. You said that these people should be appointed. Who is going to communicate the way forward here? Who is going to communicate? Are we going to share with the people who have not been here? Or it is just we are going to just keep quiet? Because we need that assurance, and people should be, even those who are not here, because they should take you on. After some time, like we are going through your email and say, hey, this is what we agreed until 3 years now. Nothing has ever happened. That's part of accountability. Yeah.
So, Chair, what we are going to do as audit is we are going to summarize the resolutions of this launch. Then we share with you. And then you will communicate
the decisions. Because when they hear from you, it is an issue of management commitment. So we are going to design the resolutions, then we share with you, then you handle that. Thank you.
Yes.
Training at faculty level. Who will do it? Who the responsibility centers? So that it is, when now you are compiling that report, it is already clear who will communicate. But of course, I know you know who will do it, but it needs to be captured here. And this production of risk registers, who will do it? Some responsibility center must be there in this way forward.
Thank you very much. That's a very important improvement. Timelines and responsible people. Yeah. I think with that, we can clap for ourselves. I really don't know whether Chief Internal Audit, you have any comment, because when I close, whatever you say after my closure, then it will be just a conversation. So I want to give you a chance, even quality assurance. I don't know whether you have anything to say before.
Thank you so much, Chair. From the bottom of my heart, I would like to appreciate the collaboration between quality assurance and internal audit. And I would like to appreciate all the feedback we've received from you. My prayer is you become a risk manager when it comes to quality and risk. Do your best and be your best. Thank you.
From our side, I wanted to request one auditor to pass a vote of thanks as he comes. I want to thank everybody who has created the time to come and witness the launch of the risk management policy and guideline. And to our presenter and the one we are collaborating with, Quality Assurance, Professor Mkokoma, we are so much grateful. For our DVC, we are very grateful. I want to take our thanks to the VC and the US. We appreciate. For the audit team, of course, I am indebted to you. And for everybody who has put in time, I was working with Charles Mukoza on the policies when we were making that presentation. For everybody who has put in time and supported to make this one a success, I am greatly indebted to you, and I'm very grateful. I don't know, have you finished sorting yourselves, Alex? Who is going to come to make a vote of thanks? Francis, come.
Thank you, DVCF&A, Chief Internal Auditor, Director Quality Assurance, and all of you have managed to come today. We just want to appreciate you. This conversation of risk management, we have been having it internally. as auditors. You know, without a proper enterprise risk management system, it even makes the work of auditors very hard. It will be like you're shooting, but you don't see clearly what you're shooting. So even when you're targeting, you don't know what to target. And probably even if you see it, you don't see it clearly. So you don't really solve things like that. Actually, it's in our culture as auditors. Each time you go to, because we are doing what we call risk-based auditing, it's in our culture to pick out those areas which are highly risky. And sometimes we have been trying to do it informally. But now when we have this risk management policy, it will, the register, it will make our work easy. We shall just pick those areas that are highly risky and put more attention there. Now, in terms of vote of thanks, I just want to thank, first of all of you for coming. You know, it was a very difficult period. There are so many activities in the university. So to have you here seated for around 4 to 5 hours, not just listening but participating, we really want to appreciate you. I also want to appreciate management. You know, it was not easy to have VC, DVC, F&A, US, and they started with us, by the way, before they went to these other areas. So we really want to appreciate that. That shows that we have support. And you know very well, support is one of the most important things you can have if you want to achieve anything from top management. I want to thank Quality Assurance. Thank you very much. When we engaged Professor Mukokoma on this thing, it was just easy. We found her ready. So it was very easy for us to link up. And within a very short time, you see, we are talking about risk registers. She already has one. And you've seen it's a very good one. And it will be something that we probably use as a benchmark to help other people develop theirs. So I want to thank her very much, and also the team in our directorate. I want to thank my fellow auditors for whatever they have done. I want to thank the MC. Thank you very much. You have done a wonderful job. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. So I think now we have come to the end of this half-day workshop. I really want to go back to the theme, because it is the theme that brought us here. So now we are taking stock that navigating uncertainty. From your contributions, you can see that we are really navigating uncertainty, but at the same time we are strengthening the university's future by talking about this risk. And I think we have done very well. I really want to thank you have been very active participants. So sometimes you have these workshops and there is nobody who even asks any question. So you wonder whether they have been very attentive or they are just there. But I really want to thank you so much. And if it was not for other activities, I think this room would be full. I really want to thank Audit. Better late than never. You can clap for yourselves. It is of 2024 and this is 2026. But at least even 1,000 steps must start with the first one. So now we have moved away from zero step now. We are somewhere and I can see we have moved very fast. I really want to thank you so much. When they talked about the money we have collected, this correction, my office is just a coordination office. At first it was a little bit difficult, but when the bursar's office came in, worked with me and AR, and we knew indirectly we were being supported by quality assurance. And here there is something I've seen. There is already some cooperation, but what we lack is coordination. We cooperate, they are cooperating, but there is always some lack of coordination. And when you don't coordinate, you find you are almost doing the same thing and you don't know who is doing what. You are just cooperating, but you don't know who is doing what. And I wish we could improve on the way you coordinate our activities. I really want to thank the AR's office and the BASA's office and the quality assurance and also DIGITS for the good work they have done for us in collecting fees, in collecting money for this university. So you cannot come here and say we are faltering, you didn't collect the money you promised to collect. We have collected it and we are still collecting more. Because as I said, we are going to block the portals of those who have not cleared to 100%, and they will bring the money. So we are collecting more. You can see there is some 1 billion there, and we are going to collect it with the help of DIGITS and BASA's office. I really want to thank you so much. So this risk register, I've already seen it, because from the presentation of quality assurance, you would see that it is possible. So when we talk about strengthening the university's future through risk awareness culture, this has been, to me, a perfect start. This has been a perfect start. And when you talk about the enterprise risk management system, I think, to me, that's the way to go. We must find money. We must find the human beings who can do human resource, which can work on this system. I believe in systems because systems, you don't speak, you don't point fingers, the system shows it, brings it in your face. And to me, from my side and from top management, I really want to make this pledge that if audit can make a very good presentation, not very ambitious, because sometimes you want something, you know you can start with around 100 million, but you bring a budget of 4 billion. And in your presentation, this is very important and you need 4 billion. I've seen where sometimes we have gone wrong when I'm in Ministry of Finance. You see some universities say, for us in the first year we need 2 billion, 4 billion, and then you find other universities say they want 279 billion. Obviously, finance finds it easier to in phasing. Okay? So I wish to see this system being built in a phased manner. And I know we can get money and support you. From the finance point of view, we are going to support you with the system, and I hope by the end of the financial year, we can have something, and if there is anything missing, we put it in the other year. But it will come from you asking, me, I'm going to keep quiet and wait. Yes. Because sometimes you attend a meeting, after meeting, nobody writes to you, and they say, you were there, you hear, you heard. But I need an instrument. Eh? Hey, you were there, you heard. I cannot start on just words. For you quote this meeting and what you have agreed, and ask top management to, we shall forward it to DIGITS. So that communication is very important, and that is my guidance. And so from the management point of view, for us, we shall support you as internal audit. Because this is your workshop, for us we pledge full support. But you can only support you if you keep on knocking at our doors. But if you think that we have been here, we have heard, it will just remain here. Because of so many competing priorities, the people who knock many times, usually, they're the people who get resources. Because resources are not even enough. And attention. Because you must first get attention, and then when we are budgeting, we shall also, Because I've seen how departments that make a lot of, I want to call it noise, they are the people who benefit from the budgets. But if you think if the management knows I don't have computers, for example, if we know, so what? But there are those who need just chairs, and they have been knocking. So you find yourself buying chairs. But if all these priorities were brought to our attention, we would make decision making would be easier. So with those few words, I've been delegated by the VC that I close this workshop, and I really want to wish you all the best, and pray to God that guides us in achieving what we have started today. And I know with your cooperation, we will get there, and for God and my country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor, for that very much guidance, your time, and for officially closing this. Now there is one item that we want to do, and it's the final one, and it's lunch. And it's even ready. So I asked them, they said it's ready and they are waiting, so I will request Prof, with your team to lead us. Okay. Let us pray for the food. Lord, for your provisions that you sent to the world to nourish our bodies and to make us healthy, we thank you. We commit the food that has been prepared before us. We pray for your blessing upon it, that it will be medicine and a source of nourishment and continued service to you. Lord, we remember those who don't have and they are starving, that in a way they'll find something to eat. And for those who have it and they don't have appetite, we pray you give it to them as well. In Jesus' name I have prayed. Amen.
Still asking why you said goodbye. That old record still spins slow. Same sad tune from long ago. Dust collects where we would dance, like a love that never had a chance.